there, everybody. I'm Ray Sidney Smith, president of W3 Consulting and managing director of W3C Web Services, which provides affordable WordPress, managed WordPress hosting and domain registration services. And I wanted to just welcome you all to Web and Beyond Live for April 6, 2020. And so I know that we're all still in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic response as small business owners, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And but before we get started, if you have questions or comments, feel free to go ahead and use the comment function here in the live chat, but you can also feel free to go ahead and leave a comment if you're watching the replay later. So feel free to engage in conversation. I'll be happy to try and answer questions and otherwise as we make our way through the conversation. And so Web and Beyond Live is my opportunity to really have a conversation with all of you around things that I feel like are topical and timely for small business owners marketing and managing on the web today. And so the things I wanted to really cover today was that I started to put together some COVID-19 resources on a page for people to be able to access. And so I want to talk a little bit about that and some of the things that are actually embedded in that site. I wanted to talk about the CARES Act loans that has had some issues, and so just kind of walking through a Forbes article that talks about some of those loans programs for small business owners, and then just talking a little bit about marketing in the age of COVID-19 and what we should all be doing or not be doing as it relates to marketing in this kind of sensitive and difficult time for us all. So let's start first with the COVID-19 resources. So I've been just getting a lot of questions about where to gain access to all these resources, both how we all can help, but also how to get helped if you need that assistance. So I've put together this site. It's a work in progress. So I posted it into the link right into the chat right now. So it's COVID-19 resources.postachio, and so Postachio is POSTACH.io. And so if you go to COVID-19 resources.postachio, postach.io. Again, the link is there in the chat, and I'll put that in the description below the video as well. You'll be taken to that site, and it has a section specifically for small business. If you click on the support small business image, you'll be taken to a page that will give you some options for being able to help small business owners who are in need right now, and also to get some help. There are lots of resources there listed on the page to get assistance if you are a small business owner in need. And some of those things include the GoFundMe Small Business Relief Initiative. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because it's a really great program, and I hope that people take advantage of it in the good way, not take advantage of it in the bad way. But in essence, what the program does is provides financial assistance to small business owners in need. And some big companies have joined GoFundMe. Intuit, which is the purveyor of QuickBooks, GoDaddy has also joined the initiative as well, Yelp, and so on and so forth. And right now, as I'm looking at it, they have $1.6 million raised of a $1.7 million goal. And the idea here is to build funds to be able to help small business owners who need cash flow and cash funds to be able to do that. You're also able to create your own GoFundMe on the GoFundMe website. So you can go to gofundme.com and figure out how to create your own GoFundMe for this purpose. And they have a whole section dedicated to that. So that's just one of the resources of the many that are on there, including if you go to openwestand.org, it's another initiative that has been put out by GoDaddy. And so go to openwestand.org and you can learn more about their whole initiative around helping small business owners through the coronavirus pandemic response. So that's just like, go check out the resources. If you're trying to help small business owners right now, there are so many ways in which you can provide support and show camaraderie to your colleagues and to your the small business owner community in your area. And so if you go to that COVID-19 resources.postach, postach.io, you'll be able to find all the resources there. And so if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any resources, also let me know. I'll be happy to add them to the page if if it's appropriate, and I'll be happy to go ahead and do that. Okay, moving right along to the CARES Act, which is the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act that was passed on March 25th, and signed into law. It provides about $350 billion in relief in small business loans, SBA loans, and so the whole notion behind it is to be able to give small business owners a loan. Again, these are loans for purposes of getting through this pandemic. And so there are basically two types of loans. There are economic injury disaster loans, the EIDLs, and then the paycheck protection loans, so the PPP loans. And so paycheck protection program loans is, I think, what they're called. But either way, the PPP, the triple P loans. In essence, these loans are to be able to pay, for payroll, rent, insurance, etc. Anyway, so Forbes put together, and I'll put a link to this in the into the video description as well. They put together kind of 10 things you need to know about the loans. Just wanted to run through them quickly as a mechanism for just being able to get people aware that there's some things to be considering. Of course, the first and foremost thing, as I said before, these are loans. These are not grants. These are monies that you do have to pay back. And so just be mindful of the risk associated with taking out a loan if your business is not going to be able to survive this pandemic. If it's really not going to survive, taking out a loan is not going to help you here because you're going to need to pay that loan back, and you don't want to certainly default on the loan altogether. So the 10 things, I just want to run through them very briefly. It says if you're a business under 500 employees, you're considered a small business in the eyes of the SBA, and therefore you qualify for those loans. The nonprofits and veterans organizations also qualify for these loans, and so just be mindful of your qualification. The EIDLs are the economic injury disaster loans. They're up to $2 million in working capital. So again, if you go to sba.gov/disaster, you can see the various details regarding the interest rates and the terms of those. I think they have a 30-year term, and you can defer payment up to 1 year, I believe, on that first payment. If you apply for an EIDL, you can request a $10,000 grant for working capital, and the SBA has claimed that that the grant will be received in 3 days of applying for the loan. There have been some issues on the website, so I'm not sure what the hiccup is there, but hopefully those will get resolved and money will start flowing from there. But again, it says that you can request a $10,000 grant. Again, that's different than loan, right? So just make sure that you're aware of the differences between those things. It says the requirements have been scaled down, and so you don't have to provide as much documentation in the application as before. The PPP loans provide up to $10 million, and so you're going from the EIDLs of up to $2 million, but the PPP loans are up to $10 million. It says once the loan is secured, you can track all the expenses for 8 weeks. After that time, you have to return to the lender and document them. Okay, so in terms of trying to show the lender the information necessary, kind of have to do this ongoing communication process with the lenders. Number 6, for the portion of the loan that's not forgiven. So going back to number 5, it says once the loan is secured, as I said, you track all these expenses for 8 weeks. After that time, you return to the lender and document them. It says they will review, and if accepted, will forgive the portion of the loan used for the expenses, i.e., it becomes a grant you do not have to repay. If you reduce headcount during this time, they will reduce the forgiveness in proportion to the reduction, meaning if payroll is, for example, if payroll is reduced by 25%, forgiveness is reduced by 25%. Okay, so they match that amount. And then number 6 says, for the portion of the loan not forgiven, the interest rate is 1% for a 2-year term. Interest does not accrue from the start of the loan, but there is a 6-month, it says interest does accrue from the start of the loan, but there is a 6-month deferment on the first payment, and there's no prepayment penalty. So you can pay off the loan at any time without any penalty. Number 7, if you receive the EIDL $10,000 grant, that will be subtracted from the forgiveness amount. Okay, so any previous EIDL loans can be rolled into the new PPP loan as well. The SBA is waiving the previous requirement for additional credit options, along with the need to apply for additional credit and failing to secure it prior to applying for these loans. So that's the credit elsewhere test has gone away. So number 9, the SBA is waiving the requirement to secure the loan with real estate or a personal guarantee and a review of personal financial statements. So this is doing away with all of those so that they can get these loans processed faster. Generally, what I recommend to everybody is go to the SBA website, sba.gov/funding-programs. I'm sorry, yeah, so sba.gov/funding-programs/disaster-assistance. Again, this article and all the notes in here will be in the video link, so you can go ahead and check that out. But just generally go ahead and visit your local SBDC. If you go to americassbdc.org and find your local SBDC, they are there to help and guide you through the whole loan program. So reach out to your local SBDC, Small Business Development Center, and they should be able to help you with those things. But there just come some interesting pieces about the loans that I think people aren't fully aware of as they're making their way through this whole process. So just check it out and make yourself aware of the important aspects of the loan and the loan programs. Okay. So, and I'm not an expert on that, so I just wanted to point it out to folks so that they're aware and to go seek out that information. Just because as I was reading, I've been reading lots and lots about these loans, just because I've been getting a lot of questions about them and some of the requirements and non-requirements that have been waived as they've been debating what the real law was going to look like, which is kind of interesting. And I think that everybody should become aware of what's available to them. Okay, number 3. In terms of my agenda was just to talk a little bit about how to market in the age of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so first and foremost, security is paramount. So be very mindful of talking about clients who might have COVID-19, who might have been diagnosed or suffered from it, or have had family members who have suffered from it. Just being this is not so much like being HIPAA compliant, although there may be those issues in some businesses, but more to the effect of just being sensitive to the fact that all of us, when this is all over, will have had someone who has been affected by it. I've had family now affected by it. Everyone will most likely know someone or be touched directly by this pandemic. So just being mindful of that and not sharing those details with others is kind of important. The goal is not to share other people's health experiences with others, whether or not you're required to by law or required to protect that by law. But if you are required to protect that by law, this probably falls into that in some way, shape, or form. So you should just know your rules and regulations and check with legal counsel if you need to. But from the marketing perspective, I think that it's important that we not avoid the topic. I think it's important for us all to be mindful of the fact that it is happening. We are all experiencing this, and there's a mental and emotional toll that everybody is taking from it all. And there are some various trends that are going on around the topic, and we're just going to see those trends. What I think is important for all of us, and I've said this kind of from the beginning, which is to be honest with the people you are working with, be honest with your audience about where you are, and really start to focus on the things that are important to them in this moment. There are clearly some things that are of great importance to people in terms of stability and understanding, but you need to be honest with them about, are you able to continue continuity of services? What things can they do to help you during this time? And if you do not have a web presence right now, now is the time to start thinking about that. Reach out to me if you don't have a web presence and you need some help getting yourself up and running. This is the time to get that assistance and start getting your web marketing in place, because you really need to start getting yourself into a place that can be resilient as we make our ways through however long this lasts. We don't know how long it's going to currently last. We don't know how long each governor of each state is going to enact further, disaster mitigation and or prolong the existing disaster mitigation so that we can ride out this whole kind of pandemic wave, and as they say, flatten the curve. So you need to be communicating what you need and what can help you during this time from those customers that you can communicate with. And one of the important ways that you can do that is through your website, through your email list, and making sure that you're taking good advantage of those two functions, your website and your email list. Of course, social media gives you an option to do that, just like here with the YouTube live. I'm coming to you so that I can give you timely information. Doing things like this can be very, very helpful as well for your audience, just to be able to understand what's going on and how to help with all of that. Now, you want to make sure that you are communicating more often than not. You need to stay top of mind. And I think a lot of business owners are forgetting the fact that with everybody really hyper focused on managing through this crisis, that doesn't mean they should forget that your products and services are available to them, not just after this is all over, but potentially while it's happening as well. They can perhaps order it and have it shipped. You can provide services through different mechanisms and means, and what services you can provide, even if they may be limited or modified because of the social distancing that's necessary, or the physical distancing that's necessary for being able to mitigate the pandemic, COVID-19 or the coronavirus transmission. We want to make sure that we're capable of modifying our services right now to the extent possible to keep people safe, but also to continue business continuity. So making sure that you're communicating that if you are still open and you are still active, what things you are doing to make sure that they're staying safe, and you're keeping both yourself, your employees, but also your customers safe in the process of delivering on those services. And I think a lot can still be done remotely and through the web and otherwise. It's just a matter of getting creative. And again, as we continue to move forward, what was maybe a little bit of a break from the business now becomes a necessity to make do with what we can do while we're in the situation. So putting all of that into your marketing, I think, is really important, and publishing that somewhere. And I think the best place to put that is on your website, and leading people from social media and email to that place so they know what you're doing and how you're doing it. Some businesses lend very easily and well to a virtual or digital business experience. Some don't. And if your business doesn't, now is the time to start thinking about how it can be done, or what types of pivots need to be done during this period, while we're in the state. So it's really important to kind of give this, kick the tires on the business model and what it can do, and what it can't do during these periods, and then getting the appropriate help. If it can't do anything, then what can you do to make sure the business stays in business during that time? And one of those things is continuing to keep your business top of mind to your customers, because they probably know, like, and trust you enough to want to help during this period if they're able to. So reach out to them and make sure that you're marketing to them that part as well. This is not a time to be shy or to not be able to ask for help. This is the time to be able to do it, as not just supporting small business as a whole, but supporting our entire economy, which so much of it is founded on the small businesses that are doing the work you're doing. So if you have any specific questions about marketing or otherwise, again, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to answer those questions. There'll be links to how to contact me in the video description below. And so with that, I hope you all have a great week. I wanted to make this brief and quick today, but hopefully you all got some value out of our time together. If you want to, you can go ahead and subscribe to the video, and then you'll see the little go live notifications when I do go live here on YouTube. So if you subscribe and add the notification bell, then it will go ahead and notify you when I do go live. Again, if you have questions, feel free to add comments below the video. I'll be happy to do that. I'm trying to do these every week in the mornings on Mondays. Right now, they've been typically 11 a.m. Eastern, and hopefully they'll continue around that time, but that may change. If I do, I'll make sure to post that on social media and elsewhere. So again, thank you all for spending this time on Web and Beyond Live with me, and hopefully you guys have a great week ahead marketing on the Web and Beyond. Take care, everybody.